When have we ever done something legal? Just as an aside.
Yeah, but this is on a different scale.
True. All right. People are against it. I still recommend we swing by the Citadel, but, if we're not going to pick up crew, then sure.
Well, you can still swing by the Citadel because your package is waiting for you, but you don't necessarily need crew there.
No, I'm not mentioning that. I'm mentioning that we need to talk to our contacts in the Blue Suns to be like, hey, we have a new ship now. We're awesome. We're back from our little holiday.
There you go. Okay.
Wait, do we want to say we're back from our holiday yet? Because we're not back from our holiday yet.
Yeah.
It would just be incorrect and awkward. Because then we'd have to think of a new excuse why we can't do anything other than we're all stressed.
If Krax has a say, he's gonna say, "Don't tell Blue Suns yet."
Fucking
It's
Holly.
called shore leave.
I imagine Ollie coming to work being like, yeah, I'm back from Italy, but I'm not ready to work yet. So just letting you know I'm back, but I'm still on vacation.
That's
Okay?
how
I have no
streaming
excuses
works.
now. I have no excuses now.
Right,
But I
right,
am
Scott?
I'm not going to continue working yet.
I'm
Okay.
back from New Year's. I'm not back yet for a few weeks.
It's funny.
Well, my counterpoint is that if we do at least let them know that we switched ships, then, if we do enter the Sol system, which they might have a virus able to just...
have a new ship, right? That's smart.
Yeah.
So they can especially if they're planning for future jobs, we have a bigger ship.
And a faster ship. Alright, we'll swing by the Citadel then. We'll let them know that we are now flying a new ship and are not quite done with our shore leave and partying with strippers and booze.
Okay.
We now have a bigger ship to party in!
Yay. It just makes me
We
think of
actually have partyable space.
this makes me
We
think
have
of Thor.
place for people who don't want to party, Winnie, to kind of hide away. Lock their door and just hear music through it.
To be fair, drinks make her sick. So, does anybody else see what the hell's his name from Jurassic Park and stuff like that? Goldblum, Jeff Goldblum. Does anybody else see Catalan as being Jeff Goldblum from Thor? You know what I mean? I totally see him as being a Jeff Goldblum. Yeah, I'm on a planet where aging doesn't happen. This is great. All right, so you guys are getting into your ship and starting to fly over towards the Citadel. Now, here's the fun part. Out of all of you, do any of you spend a particular amount of time in the bridge? Now, mind you, the bridge is in the center of the ship, not the front of the ship anymore. And the captain's position, which, funny enough, is technically where the Asari usually sits as opposed to the Solarian, sits above and behind everybody so she can oversee what everybody else is doing. And there's lots of walking space for her to literally walk around. It's actually very similar to how that captain in the first campaign went, because it's very much involved in what other people are doing. So who spends time in the bridge and who spends time in other rooms? Mind you, Erin, before you answer, the engineering is 95% able to be handled from the bridge.
You told me that.
Yes, and the engine is 80% able to be handled from the engine room. It's just there's that disparity 5% where it's well, you need a wrench there.
A situation where you got to run.
Boy, if only we had more crew!
Oh, I'd also absolutely change the alerts to be green and pink as we had in the
Oh, Tremy appreciates that.
system. The system works.
Yeah, Tremy appreciates that because the system in Torians are not as obnoxious as human systems, but this color that you guys it makes it more like home, So, so I'm sorry, who spends their time on the bridge?
I would be on the bridge manning comms and doing calculations for where to put the mining spikes and where to blow shit up, that sort of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess I would too. Getting more and more comfy in the captain's chair now. There is a captain's chair.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting your butt imprint there.
You might see the slight sinister Cattle Olan smile occasionally.
Mm-hmm. And Cracks and Winnie?
Krax is kind of just wandering around, polishing the weapons, lamenting that he lost an entire armory.
Well, oh yeah, because you obviously couldn't take
we didn't
everything
transfer
over.
it.
Yeah. I mean, they transferred over a ton of stuff for you, but that was a part of the value.
Before.
Yeah. So, but and then so Winnie, engine room or
engine room. I'm still kind of sulking.
Okay, so it's just the three of you more or less in the bridge. So as for the actual shape of the bridge, imagine it being kind of teardrop shaped, coming to a point in the front of it, and that literally front seat is where the pilot sits, so everybody can kind of like see what's on the display there. So one of the things that the two of you guys notice, since you're in there and you can see all the displays that are up on the bridge, one of the things that both Entree and Cattle notice is that she's having a ridiculous amount of fun. She's taking this thing. Like she's going through loops and weaves, and she's having way too much fun while flying this thing. Clearly, just being giddy of the fact that you actually got this, and it's one that she knew, and the story behind who owned it, and all that stuff. She's very much enjoying herself. You've literally never seen her in a better mood before. Like she might kiss a human.
I've never even seen her in a good mood.
Right? And so she's in a great mood. But despite the fact that she's doing that, A, it's not interfering with the speed of travel because of how much faster the ship is, and B, the other two have no clue it's happening. Obviously, a combination of the vacuum of space and the quality of ship, biggest, so they're not even aware of what's going on and the kind of like the fun she's having. Do you just let her have her fun, or do you interrupt it all?
Oh yeah, no, just go ahead. It's not interfering, so you know.
So she has her fun. Eventually, makes her way over to the mass relay. One of the things that you notice, because again in the communications in the captain's chair, you can see kind of like the way the programs work. This is an old Taurian vessel, and so their VIs and whatnot of their VIs of being able to communicate with the relay are so much faster than that of human ones. I mean, they have thousands of years of experience doing this. So when you guys come up to the relay, it connects so much quicker. You're on your way. You travel to the other one. Again, it's so quick. There's no like at certain points when it's kind of like get into the stress of the engine. Engine handles it no problem. Everything's just so smooth.
There's no swearing from the bridge about stupid human ships. Oh,
nothing.
So much more positive work environment.
Literally, at one point in time, she will actually flick a switch to throw on the autopilot and get out of the room and go and make everybody coffee. Obviously, her coffee is different from yours because, Taurians. But she'll actually go and make
We can't drink her coffee, but she makes it for us and makes the place smell.
No. She makes you guys all your appropriate beverages. It's one of those things where it's like super like, oh, you prefer like honey tea, whereas you prefer like coffee, and she prefer like she actually makes it for the bridge and comes in with drinks, and she's in a great mood. And it's like, again, I don't know if you choose to make note of it or not, but she's genuinely very happy.
Oh yeah, Cattle's taking notes as captain.
Happy, this would be the time where Entree suggests to Tremi that they meld. And when she's probably like, she's like, I'm here in this chair. I'm actually within communications distance mentally with you if we melt for a significant amount of time. That would be her argument. That basically, instead of me getting out from my chair to give you an order, it could be instant when it needs to be.
So you kind of like say this, and there's like this time where she's like thinking. It's like literally a full minute of silence, which is like not super unusual because Taurians are calculated people in general. With Cattle, they'd be like insanely like, did he die?
You'd have to check his yeah.
But so there's like a full minute of silence where she actually will take a sip of what she's drinking and whatnot and think about it, and then she'll say, I'm willing to try. And immediately she puts down her cup and starts walking out of the room towards your room, more or less leaving the bridge to Cattle. Like, if I'm going to do it, let's pull the Band-Aid. Okay, so the two of you make your way to, I imagine that in your room, because you actually have your own room now, you're over your own like meditation area, like.
Oh, of course.
Like you're a little comfortable.
Meditation zone.
Would you like to describe it?
Like I said, a lot of pillows, flowers, mood lighting. Although, of course, she doesn't know it's mood lighting because she's not a sexual being. She's just been trained that this is how it's meant to be. There probably would be, like, because they were on Omega, like, Asari statues and things actually in here by now. She's had time to organize it. It would be very Asari in this little room away from everything.
Awesome. So when you guys sit there and you kind of, like, get into the melding, and you're like, ready to go.
I let her finish the coffee first.
But she left her drink. Left her drink behind.
Yeah, you'll let her finish.
She'll
That's
come
great.
back to it. It won't be warm anymore.
Yeah. It's the future. You just look at the mug and it's like, oh yeah, I'll take care of that for you, and warms it back up.
Self-warming mugs.
Ah, there you go.
That's why she wanted the ship. There's like a cup holder next to the pilot thing that warms up.
So yeah, with the you guys sit in your chair, and so you sit like where it is that you sit, like the comfortable area and whatnot. And as you kind of like go into your beginning thing, where you're like, okay, so you start to explain what to expect. She'll actually tell you, this isn't the first time I've melded.
Oh,
I wouldn't
she's
be
experienced.
I'd say this also isn't the first time I've melded with a Turian before either.
Okay, and so you both kind of
won't be so much of a shock.
And so you both have that understanding. You know that melding with Taurians isn't anywhere near as bad as with humans and Krogans, because, and we'll describe as it is in a moment. So as you kind of like, she like sits there and she gets comfortable, you can see it's like, it's one of those things where, based off of what you're seeing of her, she's probably only done it once, maybe twice ever, but there's like certain postures or whatever that are suggested to kind of like help relax your body and mind. These are things that you learn in like real life and like yoga and martial arts and whatnot, things that literally are just meant to be physically relaxing.
Open
for
your chakra.
Exactly. So she kind of gets in these Taurian versions of these positions, but it's like so like sloppily done, but you can see that she's at least familiar with it. And so she gets there, and do you choose to instruct to like a better posture, or do you just like let her do her thing?
It would be like softly move them to be in a better position, sort of thing.
Gotcha. So it's like
very intimate, Scott. I'm not like, no, you're wrong.
You're doing it wrong.
I'm entree, not
move
Kieran.
left. Oh. So as she's like opening herself up and you go into her mind, the different thing about Taurian minds, because of just not only their psychology, but literally their culture, the way they've designed themselves over the course of tens of thousands of years, they're extremely rigid in their way of thinking. So their minds are actually like almost perfectly compartmentalized. So when you kind of go into it, unlike, you know, the swirling chaos of a human mind, or like the rage and anger and whatnot that constantly sits within like a Krogan minds, as they're like always, you know, fighting for survival, it's actually almost like you're standing in a hallway. I mean, again, they're giving you visuals for, it's almost like you're standing in a hallway with a whole bunch of different doors, and every one of the doors is perfectly labeled. Every part of it is so perfectly compartmentalized. The only thing that, for her specifically, that seems to constantly stand against this, what's very obviously rigid, what's very obviously structured, and so it is its own maze and difficult thing to navigate through, because it's like, gotta go through this door, gotta check that door, and I don't have a card catalog to find out where I need to go, you know, making it its own difficulty. The thing that really stands out for her is she is always angry. Like, when you first enter her mind, you can feel there's like immediately you yourself are starting to get angry from like her just anger that's permeating from her.
Someone hurt her long ago. It was her. She hurt herself.
Stub your toe.
It was probably a human.
So could you actually roll for me, as we had done beforehand, your mental save, thank you, for kind of like keeping your presence of mind in there. And I was going to give you a +2. So you succeed.
Good enough.
And you succeed well. So with your mental save, you go in there, and once again, so you can feel that anger. So if she's like on a scale of 1 to 10, if her permeating anger that's always there is like a 3 or 4, you're actually sitting at a 1. You feel it, but it's like you can choke it down, you're good to go. So you feel that constant anger, and as you're kind of like working your way through her mind and trying to get to know who she is and her experiences and stuff like that, she's kind of like opening herself up to her. You can actually see that what you end up discovering is that her anger, like all this anger that she has, it actually comes from an underlying fact that she is always afraid. She was raised as a young Taurian with like the stories that you always hear of like the dangers of the galaxy, the danger of new races and whatnot. As a young Taurian, she was told of the dangers of meeting new races. Krogan could have ended the galaxy. Krogan could have taken over every society, destroyed everybody, and won. Just like immediately before that, the Arachni could have done exactly that and killed everything. So every time you come across a new Xeno, there's this new fear that it could happen. humans are seen as a super aggressive, extremely adaptable, and very intelligent race. In the short period of time that they've existed on the galactic map, they've already transformed galactic society incredibly. She actually sees them as being like the new Arachni or the new Krogan. And so she has this constant fear that all of society is going to be put at risk, but they don't realize it because unlike, you know, conventional thoughts of beauty and what is considered frightening, humans don't fit that mold. They're not this radiation resistant, exoskeleton covered, ugly creature. They're beautiful and soft and loving and have wonderful poetry and stuff like that. They have this beautiful culture. And so it's like a disease with a beautiful mask on it. And so she's constantly afraid that even you and that your crew are being swayed by this horrible evil. And so that's kind of like where this constant anger comes from, is that people are too stupid to see the threat that's before them and that they need to all be eradicated. And that's kind of like, you kind of learn this because her family was actually a part of the First Contact War. She was a part of the First Contact War. Her lover was a part of the First Contact War because she comes from a strong military life. Her lover actually died during the First Contact War. He was one of the few Taurians that did. And so it's one of those like, ugh. And you guys kind of glimpsed on this, I think it was Kettle that glimpsed on this when you guys first discovered who she was. And so it was like, oh shit. Oh no. And so yeah, that's kind of like where she comes from and why she is the way she is. You understand that, and you guys are actually able to make a bond. Now, I just talked a ton. Describe to me the emotions you tried to give to her, and how did you try to open up to her over there?
Part of the combat melding, the whole idea of it, is that Entourage tries to soften features, like with cracks. Tries to make him more like her. But with this, it would basically be trying to. It's kind of Psychonauts, right? Trying to like, okay, here's the problem. We're gonna address it. So it would literally be like addressing that fear of humans, more or less, and things that are different, and in a healthy way, very slowly over the course of exactly a week. But yeah, she'd be trying to deal with that anger, not take it away, just make it more constructive, you know, because that would be more like, okay, when I need you to be angry, you could be angry,
yeah.
sort of thing.
Gotcha.
So that would be what she's planning.
The idea being
she's basically a sex therapist.
The idea being that
I like the sound of that.
You have triggers. Says Cattle, who's like, I find you disgusting and will never meld with you.
So like it, not cattle.
Yeah, okay, gotcha. Fair. So the idea being that you have triggers that can calm her down, going from, again, if you're going from like a 1 to 10 of anger, that can bring her from a 10 down to a 7, or triggers that can bring her from her 4 up to a 7. You know what I mean? Like kind of like triggers to go. Cool. So you guys are successful.
I comment that sort of thing.
You guys are going to be successful in the course of the week. However, you get to what's it called, Citadel before a week from there. So way before a week. It only takes a couple days. So you guys get to the Citadel. You get there no problem. I think it took technically 3 jumps, so 3 bits of your fuel, which is no longer as taxing as it was.
Actually.
Oh, it was 2 jumps. There you go. I'm not looking at the map at the moment. So way less fuel than it used to, which is nice. You guys get there and are able to make your way over to the to wherever it is that you want to do. Blue Suns first?
I don't think we really need to have a face-to-face with them. I'm just going to ping them the details like, hey, we just got ourselves a new ship. We're still in the process of like upgrading it, that sort of thing. And I will just send him the basic data. Like, we have a patrol boat now. It's fast.
Cool. And so it's one of those like, it's clear that they got the message, but they don't really give a response because it's not really response worthy at the moment, which is kind of like, I think what you were hoping for.
I wasn't expecting one.
Yeah.
Just keeping them in the loop.
Awesome. I already know what you're going to be doing here, Rick. No question. But Winnie, on the Citadel, it's been a while since you've been here yourself. Is there anything that Winnie would like to do here? Anything she's kind of like looking for?
I actually would like to look into the possibility of VI crewmates and see how much that would cost, just to get the information they can give back to Cattle.
Absolutely. So I'm trying to find that. Where's my folder? Oh, nope, this folder, not that folder. Let me open this up right here.
Automation support would be 2 power, 1 mass, and cost 20k for a frigate. Would allow us to use simple robots, or in this case, VI as crew.
Yeah, what is it called? Automation,
Good.
right? Yep, automation. Yep, so 20k. That's for shuttle is 20k. It's the minimum. So because it's shuttle, that's fighter grade. Okay, cool. So yep, like you said, it's 20k just to get the. My apologies, Rick, as you just described. 20k takes up 2 power and 1 mass just to get the hardware and software on there, the framework on there for you to do that. But then each individual VI will cost separately, of course. So remind me, Rick, how much money do you have in the bank?
I had to spend 250k extra to get the spikes. I also had to spend 250k extra for the ship. So I think we're on 1 million credits with like 41,000. So we're still doing pretty good.
Perfect. Now, these VI that you're working with are 1,000 credits each per crew member that you want it to be, and they effectively have skill level 0. Okay, so more or less they're rolling with. It looks like they're rolling with no modifier. At least one infantry VA as a crew member. I don't think they even get to apply a stat-related modifier. Now, obviously, if you wanted to spend more money, we can get them from +0 to their rolls to a +1 to their rolls. And what I would charge you for that is 2,500 per crew member. So, how many crew were you hoping to go with, like, say, 5 crew?
I have a question. Could we use them to generate CP in combat?
Yes and no.
I don't think only heads of departments can do that, so not really.
So, like I said, yes and no. And the reason why I answer like that is because they can generate CP, but the thing is, the amount of CP you can generate is based off of the departments. 5 departments make 5 CP. However, I think that's kind of lame when it sits that way. In my opinion, when you have, every time you 100% all of your departments, you can generate an additional CP. So if you had 5 more crew, you get +1 CP. If you had 10 more crew, you have +2 CP. That gives you guys more breathing room, so Frank's not always sitting there going, well, I'd love to target something, but I guess Ollie has to, or I guess Rick needs to, so you guys don't feel as bored in combat. You know what I mean? So,
well, I mean, there's also things that, because we haven't been at like super high skill level yet, we haven't been able to explore. Like, there's this thing you can do that's called above and beyond. You have to explain what you're doing and how it will aid the battle, and then you need to pass like a skill check 9. If you pass it, you get 3 CP. If you fail, -1.
Yep. Which is another nifty feature to make sure that you can actually, but it sucks if you miss. You know what I mean? Really bad.
I just built a character around that in the one shots that I did with Rover, and it just never failed. So
Well,
I don't know what failing feels like.
I think you do from this game.
Yeah. This is a different case entirely.
I know it's. I'm glad that you love the system as much as you do. It's such a good system. So
yeah, it's great.
All right, so my apologies. So these are different options for you guys. So I'm sorry, did we say 20k? And if you want to do
20k for the framework, and then 1,000 or 2,500 for VI.
So assuming 2,500 for the better one, you're looking at 32,500 for 5 VI of +1 to give you a constant +1 CP. But the cool thing, Aaron, to also answer that, let's say Aaron gets knocked out or does something entirely different. You still have the VI situated in that, so that it's always generating CP whether or not you're there, because it's still a crew member handling it, which is cool. So, how do you guys feel about this?
So I'll basically just get all this information. I'll just bring it back to you guys.
There you go.
Grace is okay with all this.
Okay.
I was gonna say that we don't need people that don't need +1 VIs, but yeah, people might get knocked out.
What you might want to do is have 1 +1 and all the others be 0. So you have a
That's pretty
floating
much what I was
+1 in
thinking,
case
yeah.
someone gets knocked out. And then
I was kind of handling the VIs are for different are like, okay, this is gonna be the VI for engineering, this is gonna be the VI for, but it doesn't have to be that way. It's kind of like what I was going with in my mind, but that is certainly not the rules of the game. So
that's what I immediately thought when you said, "Oh, we'll just buy all +1s." Like, it makes more sense to have like 1 +1 and like 4 basic bitches. That it's basically you have like a manager.
Yeah. Well, you imagine just like with all computer systems, you have the master and the slaves, right? So you have the primary system and all the other ones that kind of like add to it. Yep. So, why do I give that look, Ollie? It's networking computers. That's how it works.
Yeah, you call it networking. I call it something very different.
Oh, Geth. Okay, Geth. All right, so awesome. So doing it Ollie's way, that's 20K, 24K, 26.5. Sound good, Rick?
I'm actually tempted to say we'll get like 2 VIs for each department because we'll get 2 CP from it. It doesn't cost a whole lot in comparison, so.
So 2 +1s, 2 +0s, +0s for each. So you're talking just again assuming that you have to have 2 masters to handle like the each line of crew. So you're 8K, so 32.5, 33,000.
Yeah, that's pretty cheap, and it doesn't even take any life support.
No life support, no pay, no anything after the initial upfront cost.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay.
Alright.
So then we'll be able to generate 2 more CP from having 15 crew on board, effectively.
Awesome. So with that, with you guys doing that big purchase, that we're gonna have more or less Winnie take care of the purchasing of that stuff, the arguing of it, the taking the obnoxious racial remarks for being a Quarian, and then having to install it herself because the other people are just rude and incompetent.
I'm sure I could find somebody who I'd like who would do it for me because we all have Connect.
Sure. Would you like to roll that actually before we?
Sure.
I can roll
what
trade.
attribute?
Connect Charisma, yeah.
I'd also like to say the only thing Entree knows how to do with machines is VI. Ooh, shit. Okay.
That is really good. So, no, shut up, Scott. I have friends that would be more than happy to. I just have to buy them pizza. Quarian pizza. But I pizza. And they came and helped install the systems and played Halo afterwards. It was a lot of fun. So, cool. That actually...
Can we play Halo with the VI? Is that okay? Can they do that?
Yeah, sure. Sounds great. You know what I mean?
They got to be part of the crew, man.
Yeah.
They got to feel involved.
At this point in time, it's probably Halo, like, I don't know, 13 or something, you know? Like, because they don't come out super often, but this is, like, a good gap of time in the future. So anyways, awesome. So you guys do that.
I can't wait for Halo 14. Master Chief is still not fucking dead yet.
Well, we've already seen Cortana on the Citadel. Like, remember all the Ariel or Aria, or you remember talking about the Citadel VI from the video games for anybody that actually played the video games, like the purpley kind of stand there and welcome to the Citadel.
Yeah, that's what VI are.
It literally looks
They're
like Cortana.
Cortanas.
Yeah, it's so funny. All right, so anyways, why don't we take our first break, and when we come back, we can find out what's in that box. What's in the box? What's in the box?
What box?
It's the...
What's in the box?